you feel like you want something that synergizes a bit stronger, but they do opt for that instead. The Lotac does respond with the Underlord. I'm not sure if we're going to be seeing the Ohio Underlord come out here, Mike. I feel like it's very likely we're going to see that run as a core in the offlane. But this is definitely a hero that it's still fairly popular. I believe it's been picked up a fair bit right now. Let me just check real quick.
10 seconds
No,
remaining.
I think I was wrong. Not quite. It's definitely tapered
5
off. I
seconds.
mean, it's not here you see too much of, and it's really just kind of fallen flat. You have to rely on an ultimate, which is situational at best. Its control is a great route, but it's not the most instantaneous lock. You really need to synergize that skill with um, a few others with good AoE
Radiant
control.
team
I
banned.
feel like the Firestorm is going to be really helpful here in clearing out those Eidolons, and it should be fairly good. And I mean, they with a Tusk, you can really hold people in that pit, so I can see the value in that Underlord. I'm just not super confident in this pick, as again, it's just been underwhelming for a while now, Mike.
It really has been. I think we talked about it a while back as well, but just doesn't seem to have that same
10
influence.
seconds remaining.
Then again, however, a lot of teams aren't going to be playing against this kind of pick very often, so perhaps they're not really sure how to go up against it in the lane, because, well, at the very least, back when it was meta, it was very, very difficult to try and counter this Underlord pick. Nevertheless, of course, DeToNator, we'll see what the plan is from them. I suppose that route is going to be pretty nice against the Enigma as well. Lotac. Well, doesn't look too bad. But then again, you look at DeToNator, not only have you got that black hole from the Enigma, you've got that Elder Titan Stomp, and you've now got that lasso available, so there's just so much control coming out for that Troll Warlord. Like, it's not going to be the easiest time in the world for Lotac to be able to allow the Troll Warlord to just run around and do whatever he wants.
Definitely not going to be an easy time here for Lotac. You know, I've been thinking about it, Mike. Ohio, we've seen him play the Underlord a few times around last year, early on when Underlord was
10
still fairly
seconds
popular.
remaining.
We saw him hit some pretty darn good timings on the Underlord.
5 seconds
I'm not sure if
remaining.
it's going to be super significant here, but if we're looking at, say, a 10-minute Vanguard boots, that could be pretty strong. I guess it's going to be really hard to take out that Underlord. Kind of has the same effect as the DK, just being annoying there, not really easy to kill off. The one thing with Underlord is I feel like he doesn't have as great of damage output compared to the Dragon Knight. He definitely doesn't push as fast. But you do have that frontliner core that can just stand in front and take the punishment. I guess the one good thing about the Underlord as well is that you do slow down the physical damage coming out from DeToNator, so that DK, the Eidolons, are going to do a bit less damage. But that Lifestealer pickup from DeToNator really screws over that Underlord, I feel like.
Certainly so. Lifestealer does love any hero with high HP. See how they do run the Lifestealer, John, because you and me personally, we don't see these heroes very often anymore with the regions we've been casting. But let me tell you, John, it feels so damn good to be back to Southeast Asia, where we do start to see these kind of drafts, these crazier drafts, I want to say, these more entertaining drafts. Lotac, however, last pick for them. You could make the argument they do seem to be slightly behind in their draft, right? Like, it doesn't really look perhaps as well-rounded as DeToNator right now. I mean, you could correct me, John, I could be wrong here. But Lotac do seem to be slightly on the back foot throughout the drafting phase for the moment.
Yeah, it does feel like Lotac is a bit more responsive. I mean, they've responded to the Enigma with the silencer pickup. They're really just going along with what DeToNator wants, picking something that works well against it. I feel like they have the potential to outplay DeToNator with these hard counters. I mean, the combination of Tusk Silencer as your support duo is pretty strong. The roaming potential early on is really quite good. If you can start getting those successful ganks going, your Silencer is going to have a good amount of int by mid game, and that should slow down the momentum of DeToNator by a fair bit if they manage to get those successful ganks going. Lotac does close out with the Monkey King. I feel like that is a good pickup against against a DK, against a Lifestealer. It's pretty good here to just kite around there. I'm really not sure what to say. Both teams seem to have pretty balanced drafts. It just feels like DeToNator definitely wants to be much more active than Lotac does. Lotac, I feel, with the cores they have, kind of want to slow down just a bit. Maybe not as active as DeToNator. It's definitely on DeToNator to really play around their cooldowns. They want to play around Dragon Form. They want to play around that black hole when it's up. They want to play around the lasso. So it's on DeToNator to be really active in this map, whereas Lotac, I feel they will be playing a bit responsive, but the pressure's not on them to get these
10
fights started,
seconds
Mike.
remaining.
Absolutely. We'll get into this game very, very soon. It should be a very fun one to watch. Again, both these teams are playing for their lives, essentially, in these qualifiers. The winner of this series will go on to verse Boom ID in the grand final. And, of course, the winner of that series will make it directly to the StarLadder Minor. Big deal for any of the 3 teams that are left in the qualifier to make it to those minors, try to get some DPC points and some money, which is probably more important for these people because, you know, money does matter with these teams. Nevertheless, John, I hope you've had a good day. I definitely have. I've been very excited about casting today.
Yeah, it's been a good day so far, Mike. It just had, it's about 1 p.m. Singapore time. It's I'd say the weather right now is fair. It's not amazingly cool. It's not melt your skin off hot, but could be better, Mike. But hey, we're inside. We're watching some Dota 2. It can't get any better than that.
No. By the way, what did you have for lunch? Because you did mention you went out for
Ah,
lunch.
nah, it's family cooked lunch a bit late. We had some linguine and sardines, Mike.
Linguini?
Yeah, sardines and linguine. Linguine and sardine. I'm not sure which is the right
Does,
conjugation of that, but
doesn't
it's pretty
sound very
good.
doesn't sound very Filipino to me,
Oh,
John.
it's just the presence of sardines kind of makes it very Filipino, Mike.
Oh, fair enough.
Prepare
Thank you for
battle.
that, John. Game has started. We will move into it. Of course, the good luck have fun's going out. I imagine both these teams do probably scrim with each other a lot, John. Being in the similar kind of tier bracket, it's always good to see a bit of good sportsmanship coming out early on in the game. Do see an early smoke out from the side of DeToNator. Looks like they want to try and get themselves a very early first blood if they can pull it off, but unfortunately for their sake, nobody from the side of Lotac is around in that bottom jungle.
I mean, that does give them some info as to what Lotac wants to do. It also does just feel like a bit of a wasted smoke. They managed to drop a nice ward at least, watching that jungle area in the bot lane. So that off lane for Samage should be a bit easier to manage. Just a tad
30
bit, but
seconds
otherwise,
to battle.
yeah, it looks to be a fairly, I don't know, just a quiet rune coming up at 0 seconds in. Just looking to be nice and calm. No real big exchange to go for here, Mike.
And of course, I was wondering when this was going to come up. We do have the classic SEA pause. John, this makes you very, very happy. I know you always are very satisfied with these.
Yeah, it's always good, Mike. I think the one thing I'm disappointed with right now is that we're not seeing these Lunar New Year festivities popping out yet. We're not seeing the pig spam. We're not seeing the fireworks spam.
It's very
it's mildly
upsetting.
disappointing.
It's true.
What's this about pause for?
Sam H asking questions, perhaps trying to get some mind games going. Raven telling him he can play any role he wants.
The battle begins.
He did switch out to the position 4 role, so I guess that's why these two teammates are ribbing each other a bit.
Of course, like you said, 2 very quiet bounty runes coming out from either team. None of them really wanting to engage too early on. And get to the laning stage where it does seem like Sam H will be on that Batrider up at the safe lane of the Dire. But he will be up against the tri-lane of Lotac and Raven. What are you going to come say hello on that Tusk? Not going to be the easiest lane in the world for that Batrider. We look at DeToNator right now. They are running a dual lane at down bot. We still do have RR in the mid lane just denying creeps for the DK. And we'll see if he does make a rotation down to the bot lane as well, or whether he'll go up to the top lane and try and help out the Batrider.
Yeah, it certainly feels like it's going to be a rough time for Sam H here up top if he's going to be left alone. He did have to go for Firefly level 1 as well to cut into those trees up top. And that really will slow down his early game farm, his potential to really harass Scam here. He's just going to have to soak some EXP, hope to hit a good time in his level 2, and hope that Lotac gets a bit bored in this top tri-lane and move out.
Well, I'm just having a look at RR again. He does actually move his way into the jungle for the moment, and looks like he will stick around there. Not going to move yet. Meanwhile, Ben-Hur not having the greatest time up against a Monkey King. which is to be expected. I mean, Monkey King, just Jingu Mastery is just a very, very strange passive to have in the game, and tends to work out pretty darn well if you are that Monkey King.
Yeah, and, you know, he's a melee hero with pretty significant attack range, Mike. I feel like DK can kind of match up with the Breed Fire spam once it's out, but before then, it's kind of hard for Ben-Hur to really match up against Chuan here. Although he's doing fairly okay with himself, at the very least keeping up with the last hits, but not quite getting those denies he needs.
No, absolutely not. Meanwhile, Sam H, again, having a tough time as expected. The Silencer, although not in meta, is still very, very strong in that laning phase. Going to be very annoying for Sam H to try and get in that XP range, let alone trying to get last hits in the lane. In fact, he is still sitting at level 1. And the side of Lotac, like their tri-lane, they're all about to hit that level 2 mark as well. So Sam H is starting to fall significantly behind in that XP, considering he's going solo up against that tri-lane.
Yeah, he's definitely not getting as much EXP as he wants. Batrider does want to hit a good timing. They're level 6, so they can at least clear out the jungle if they opt to do that. I just don't think Sam H is going to hit that good timing here.
Raven got a very, very nice shards, but couldn't get the tree down in time. Nevertheless, again, they're doing their job, and there's a piglet coming out from Sam H. Very nice from him. That's the first one of the game, by the way, John.
That's what we want to see, Mike. All
Absolutely.
about the pigs.
Well, I thought he was throwing out the flame break, but it was just a pig. Which, it looked very, very similar, I'll be honest. Mid lane, still going fairly strong for either side. Looks like Ben-Hur has gone ahead just slightly, but it is still very, very, very even. The one lane that isn't going well, at the very least for Lotac right now, is the bot lane, where Raging Potato is basically free farming on this lifestealer. He has found himself 5 last hits ahead of the Troll Warlord, who is in second place.
Yeah, it's a hard time for you to really just solo here as the Underlord. I mean, there's only so much pressure you can really apply. I'm sure you can do a fair bit against something like a Lifestealer if you spam out that Firestorm often, but, you know, it costs a fair bit of mana. You don't really have the biggest mana pool in the world as the Underlord. All you can really do is clear out waves and try to farm for yourself, but slowing down the enemy core is really not an option.
He's in big trouble, John Raven. Flies solo, still making the chase. He will not be able to get the final right clicks off to get him killed, but very close one coming out from the side of DeToNator. The shards, of course, Raven was trying to get a block off for himself, but he did end up missing. Nevertheless, he does manage to run out and heal himself up. See where he does head off to. Trying to get some kills going for his team. Meanwhile, again, I looked at this mid lane and I said Ben-Hur was struggling on that DK, but he seems to be evenly matching up with the Monkey King for the moment. But Chuan, he does have 14 denies, but somehow the DK manages to stay even in terms of last hits.
It's really the nature of DK laning, even against something like Monkey King. He doesn't quite have enough burst to kill off the DK now.
They're going for him though. Tag team is a thing and it's a lot of damage. Though Ben-Hur still a tanky DK, but it will not be enough. Surely not anyway. Ben-Hur still making a run for it. One more right click will do it and Chuan will barely find it. What the hell was that range coming up from the Monkey King, John? I mean, he hit him from a mile away.
I don't see any problems there, Mike. It's perfectly balanced here. He's been in the game for a long time now. I don't get why you'd be complaining at this point, Mike. This is to be expected from Monkey King. He's a melee hero, Mike. What can you do?
Oh my. Nevertheless, a good first blood coming out from Lotac. Meanwhile, the bot lane, it looks like DeToNator want to repay the favor. Ohio making a run, a nice TP play, and it looks like they won't be able to cancel it in time. Nevertheless, Raging Potato does manage to pick up a very, very quick Midas on that Nakes. And Sam H, top lane, does end up going down. The Raven will be traded in return. Still a nice pickup for Lotac. But John, if I may, that Midas on the lifesteal are going to be a big problem again for Lotac. I mean, Raging Potato is free farming his way to the bank.
Yeah, and I don't really see any good way for DeToNator, for Lotac to really control this lifestealer, I think.
Well, Chuan, he thinks otherwise, John. He gets a double at the bot lane, and now he wants to go after Raging. One more hit would have done the Jingu Mastery, but Chuan just lets the Lifestealer go for the moment. No way to cancel off that TP, and a very, very nice rotation from the Monkey King.
Definitely so, and a pretty darn good rune to have for that as well. That haste rune really making sure that rotation was fast. And certainly you do want to go fast if you are Lotac. As, well, I feel like right now DeToNator is getting what they want from these lanes, right? I mean, you have RR who's been free farming this Enigma, you've had a free farming Lifestealer.
Ben-Hur, again, gonna find himself in trouble, though Chuan will have to turn around. Ben-Hur did commit that ultimate and just turned around and started man-fighting because he couldn't actually get out of those shards. Turns out it did work out for him. In fact, they may try to go even further because RR is there to back him up now. Ben-Hur will slowly start chipping away at that mid-tier 1 tower. Stun will go out. Now the Elder Titan there as well. They will stomp him up. Chuan, Mischief Dodge was not really successful, but it won't matter. He will be able to get out of there safely. Will salve up and may go back in now. They shouldn't be expecting him to stick around, although here comes Raven as well. They will go after Ben-Hur. A nice stun, though, coming out, but the shards will block him off. The stomp as well being dodged by that snowball. Now Yamate, his life was almost gone, but it looks like RR will be dead instead. And the minus in starts coming out. Yamate, he will manage to walk his way out of there safely. The Eidolon chasing him down, but he won't be fast enough.
Yeah, again, a nice counter initiation coming out from Lotac there. Just that salve onto Chuan, making sure he was healthy enough to come back in. Beautiful snowball dodge on that stomp, and suddenly the stun locking from DeToNator wasn't there. If you can't control that Monkey King and burst him down fast enough, he will pump out a lot of damage, Mike.
Yep, certainly so. Lotac taking full advantage of their draft. Oh, shards missed again by Raven, but nevertheless, Chuan is there, and Snowball will connect on Fly Solo. He's in big, big trouble, and the Balor Strike will get the job done. Chuan is just playing out of his mind on this Monkey King right now. 4-0-2 at the 8.5 minute mark.
Yeah, he's certainly been very active, and looks like Raging Potato might be forfeit here. Nah.
Not quite. He will rage up, TP away. No lucky ensnares coming out for Skem either. With that, they will go after the T1, which, I mean, you can't be unhappy, right? If you're a Lotac fan right now, 7-1, they are having a fantastic time.
Definitely a good time if you are a Lotac fan, as you mentioned. They are getting everything what they want from these lanes. I feel like DeToNator is really not too far behind. Less than 1k network lead so far for Lotac, and DeToNator does have some tools in their hand that really hasn't been utilized yet. I mean, they've had a free farming Enigma in the jungle who does have his Dominator up. They've had a Lifestealer who got a 6-minute Midas, so that will, you know, it's going to pile up fairly soon for Raging Potato. His farm will just kind of accelerate once he can keep maximizing that cooldown in the Midas. And then, I guess if you don't keep those two heroes in check, you're going to have a bit of a rough time.
Chuan actually just using Mischief to turn into a tree and then jumps away. No lasso coming out from the Batrider. I'm not sure if it was because of the Mischief, but nevertheless, they will start pushing in that mid-tier 1 tower. Lotac will be there, however, to defend. Those Eidolons will keep up the good job, and, well, they will get the tier 1 as well. RR claims that for himself, and it looks like they're more than happy to just get the hell out of there immediately afterwards. Though I say that, Raging Potato sticking around in the enemy jungle. But nobody will really be around to try and take him out. They may actually go have a play against Raven. It's down in that bot lane on the Tusk. My solo gonna spot out Chuan on that Monkey King. Nice ward being planted, though Chuan does spot him out. Raging will be there to help him out if necessary, though Chuan does not seem afraid whatsoever. Raven comes in as well, and they just blow up Fly Solo and Raging Potato. It's like you constantly see him TPing away, John. He just tries to help out as that lifestealer, but really can't up against that Monkey King burst.
Yeah, it's a hard time, I guess. At the very least, you don't lose your Lifestealer, but I don't think Raging Potato is really in any sort of danger as long as he has to rage up, so should be fine in most instances. They probably overextended just a tad bit. At the very least, dropping a pretty nice ward to have on the Dire side. Pretty good information to get from there. Not the most obvious spot as well. So I don't think Lotac will be aware of that anytime soon.
They're going again. Raging Potato falls very, very low. He'll be okay. Make his walk out, but really just seeing the power of that Monkey King. Meanwhile, top lane, Skem could be in trouble. Sam H does have the lasso, couldn't quite catch up, does just leave him be. And it looks like they do just opt to go for the tier 1 top tower now. Lotac, they do scramble to try and get there to defend. In fact, they have smoked up. They're going to go for the pincer move. They won't be there quite in time. It does seem like DeToNator were aware that something was going wrong. The Raven has spotted out Ben-Hur. Snowball will be there, and they will get the stun off with the Walrus Punch as well. Ben-Hur, can he actually make his way out of this one? A nice shards from Raven, and now the body blocks as well, but Ben-Hur is so darn tanky. Boundless Strike is a lot of damage, and somehow he's still making his way out. Now RR does have the Black Hole available. They will back off, and the Global Silence comes out. And they will not get the kill onto that DK.
Yeah, again, they were trying to go for the tankiest target on DeToNator's side. Not the easiest here to kill off. And I feel like you do still kind of lack damage on this Monkey King, despite that very beautiful early start. You're going to need a few more items up before you can really take care of that DK just yet. It's a nice little trade for DeToNator, I suppose. Again, they don't really lose out much. They managed to bait out that Global Silence, which means that their Black Hole will not be interrupted if they choose to use it within the next 2 minutes.
See if they do. Of course, we haven't seen a Black Hole come out yet from RR. He's tried to get in there to use it, but hasn't quite found the right spacing. And well, now they will go for a smoke up. DeToNator, who is the target, however. Of course, Skem would be lovely, considering as well he's already got a Demon Edge up on that Troll Warlord. Skem does show himself again at that bot lane, though it does appear that he's aware something's array, but not aware enough. DeToNator should have spotted him out. They do loop around as well, and Skem is surrounded right now. Will he even bother with the Black Hole? Maybe not. He does, just in case, because the Tusk was in the backlines. He does get 2 of them, and Raven goes for the Snowball, tries to delay it. Meanwhile, Tron, he will commit the ulti as well, but can he actually man-fight 4 of them right now? Well, he doesn't need to, because he does have help around, and they're just wiping them on the side of DeToNator. Lotac trying to back out now. They do end up losing Tron, however, and they end up losing Ohio. Raging Potato still moving forward. They will be able to find Raven, and Yamate is the last man standing. John, it's a full team wipe coming out at the 13-minute mark.
I mean, that's just really well executed from DeToNator. I thought that Black Hole was a bit of a whiff from RR, but just catching out the Tusk just like that was definitely a good move to make. They do end up overcommitting there with the Monkey King with basically everyone on Lotac's side, and they lose their tier 2 as well. Really good moves from DeToNator. Again, they managed to force a fight when that Global Silence is down, and that's really where Lotac's weakest. They really rely on interrupting that with Global Silence, that Black Hole, to take that 2 away from DeToNator to really take control of those team fights. Without it, they're just really at the mercy of DeToNator right now, Mike.
Well, they've gone for a smoke attempt again. They spawn out the Eidolons. Chuan has spotted the target. Goes for the TP. Snowball was there, however, from Raven. And a nice pickup coming out from the side of Lotac. In fact, they may even go for a bit more. They do move their way forward into the enemy jungle. But it does look like it's just for the bounty runes. So now an 11-6. 2k net worth lead, however, is the way of DeToNator. Of course, we didn't really mention, but Ben-Hur, he did manage to pick up that Blink Dagger now on the DK. So you've got another form of initiation coming out from that Dragon Knight. Things do seem to get slightly harder. Though again, as well, you look at Skem on that Troll Warlord, he now has the full Battle Fury up. So expect that farm to accelerate quite a bit on Skem.
Yeah, definitely so. I think right now what Lotac needs to do is buy some space for Skem to maybe get at least 1, maybe 2 more items going. And that's when you're really going to be comfy.
Well, Skem's been caught out. The Earth Splitter is there. The lasso as well, just in case. And they let the Ancients do all the work, though. Skem, he gets time to use the ultimate. The Life Sealer, he took way too long to get out of there. And now Skem, still being chased down. He will end up losing his own life. And there's some nice Ancients to be taken, if they do wish. However, they will go for the tier 1 top tower instead. DeToNator, they had a bad start, but I mean, they're really pulling this this mid-game off now on their side. Like, Lotac does seem to be on the back foot.
Yeah, it comes down to the draft as well. DeToNator definitely has to play a bit more active at this point in the game, and they certainly are, Mike. They're They're applying all the pressure they can. They've taken a good amount of towers now. The map is slowly shrinking for Lotac, and that's not a good sign as, Scam went for a farming build in his troll. He's not going to have too much space to find that farm now.
Oh, they're going after Ben-Hur. Snowballs, shards will connect. No, in fact, they won't. Ben-Hur just felt the cold breeze behind him, but will manage to run out of there safely. Lotac will just continue farming up on Scam. It's probably really the only option they have right now, though. Mid lane, Chuan is trying to go for a kill. Sam H is out of there. Wukong's command will make it out just in time, but will it be enough? Chuan is copying so much damage, and he will go down a Raging Potato. Now Raging, though, he is in trouble. No way out of this one. He's got the Infest. Can he get it off? No, he can't, but now the Black Hole comes out. Global Silence immediately is there from Yamate, however. And it looks like both sides perhaps want to back off because Yamate, he's losing a lot of life. And now Ben-Hur's here. He doesn't have the Dragon form available, but they will continue the chase. And Raven tries to get the shards off. In fact, Scam will commit the ultimate and does get a very nice kill onto Fly Solo. And it does look like Lotac does barely manage to come out on top in that engagement.
Yeah, it was it's really unfortunate you lose Chuan like that, but at the same time, you get some 2 pivotal kills. Getting that kill in the Lifestealer is pretty big, considering how far ahead he is in terms of net worth, Mike. And that does give a lot of gold back to Lotac's way, but they still have to get control back in this map. I feel like you're definitely going to want a few more defensive wards in this case, especially for Scam, as you will want him farming up fairly safe. You don't want him to get ganked up like he did last time. Again, because if they keep Scam down, he's not really going to be able to have too much of an impact in this game. So you really will have to ward that bot jungle at least for Lotac's side. For DeToNator's side, I feel like just wait for your cooldowns again and force a fight. Or, just force a fight now.
Yeah, Chuan, he's being chased down. Meanwhile, in the mid lane as well, looks like Raging Potato will find Yamate. And, well, Chuan, he does manage to jump in the trees and get the hell out, but the aggression coming out from DeToNator is something to be watched. Of course, the Radiance, John, we didn't even talk about that, but Raging Potato, these items coming out so darn fast on this Lifestealer, and he will go for a very early Roshan as well. Meanwhile, that top lane will continue to be pushed in. It does look like they will commit that Underlord ultimate to try and get back up there. However, they must realize the Roshan is going down. They do scan it out as well. Lotac, how do you even initiate into this? Global Silence is not going to be available for another 13 seconds. Black Hole, though, is also going to be unavailable, but they will get started. Ohio was the first one in, but he's copying a lot of damage, and now the lasso as well. They want to take him out, and they do, and now Raven, he's been left all by himself in the Earth Split on Raging Potato again with a double kill, and they'll just go back to that Roshan.
Yeah, I feel like Lotac's definitely in no position to fight. Just initiating like that definitely felt a bit reckless, just kind of staggered and not really the kind of movement into that kind of pit you want. I feel like you definitely want Chuan to be a bit closer in that case, but looks like they were rushing to try to interrupt that Roche fight. Didn't quite work out well. So now DeToNator gets 2 free kills. The Roshan, the Aegis. It's going to be really hard to take the next team fight, especially since Black Hole will be up in 30 seconds as well, Mike.
Yeah, certainly so. Scam just trying to farm up as fast as he possibly can on this troll. He's going to have the BKB up next. Still, their Raging Potato is so scary, but they will initiate onto him. Will manage to back off safely. Yeah, that is a very hard target to aim for. Speaking of hard targets as well, Ben-Hur will be grabbing a BKB of his own on that Dragon Knight. And he's getting close to that point where he's going to have that level 3 Dragon form. And well, those early level 3s, they do tend to hurt quite a lot when you're playing a hero like DK.
Yeah, it definitely does hurt. DK as well really benefits from his increased Dragon form, of course. Often just add a little bit more utility to that spell and a little bit more damage, so you will have to watch out. Once that BKB is up, you definitely can't take Ben-Hur out anymore. It's going to be a really hard time. I don't think you're farmed enough on any of your cores to really man-fight him, along with the Lifestealer so far. So again, it's Lotac's turn to really slow down, just try to find farm. And DeToNator has such a huge advantage that they should really be pressing it. They shouldn't be using this time to farm up, as eventually Scam might be able to catch up. And, you're not really built for farming right now on DeToNator's side. Lifestealer does have that Midas, but he's really not a very good flash farmer. The DK is a decent flash farmer, but you're going to have to expend the Dragon form to make that happen quite well. And although you can clear out quite fast with Breed Fire, just compared to a Battle Fury Troll, it's not the best to match up in terms of raw, creep whacking. So you will have to really play around the advantage, the strengths you have right now.
Well, Ara on that Enigma, he does manage to finish off the full Guardian Greaves now, so that Global Silence not going to be nearly as effective, and that is a very, very quick Guardian Greaves coming out from that Enigma. Again, very concerning for the side of Lotac, and well, Raging Potato now does have a full Manta up as well. It's like Chuan did show himself up at that top lane, but he does get pinged out, and they are actually going to go for him. The scan is there, but he will jump the trees. But no, they do break the tree line down. RI, he has found him, and Chuan, he is a big, big pickup to be able to find from the side of DeToNator. The Midnight Pulse, John, coming out from RR was just really on point, and unfortunately for Chuan, like, he kind of was on the edge of that Midnight Pulse, but it barely caught out the tree he was on top of.
Yeah, and taking Chuan out just means you can basically take a free tower, I feel. A lot of damage right now is really coming out from this Monkey King. Not having him up for the next defense just means I think they're going to have to forfeit this tier 2 up top. It looks like Lotac will try to get a trade in that tier 1 down bot, but that's really not too much of an issue for DeToNator at this point in the game. We're 23 minutes in. That tier 1 down bot isn't that significant anymore.
Well, it feels like you just keep going. And they are going to go for that DeToNator. They have the Black Hole. They have the Dragon Form. I mean, Infest is even available, and Raging Potato currently is unkillable. He still holds the Aegis as well, so this is going to be a very hard defense for the side of Lotac to try and pull off. We'll see if they can get the job done. But again, that Global Silence not going to be as effective because of those Guardian Greaves. It will dispel that silence that comes out. Ben-Hur, he'll get started. He jumps in. The stun is there, and Ohio is suddenly gone. Wukong's command committed as well, but John, it's away from the racks. So they can just get it from the other side. They will root them up, but Ohio, he just brought back. He can't afford to die. Yamate is the one being chased down, and the Earth Splitter does come out as well. Ben-Hur gonna try and man-fight. A nice snowball does come out, however, and they will go after Raging Potato, but now RR still holding on to that Black Hole. Skem getting very low. He will pop the ultimate. Black Hole actually cancelled off. RR just casted it at the wrong time, and now the side of Lotac may be able to pull this one off, although Raging Potato is still a massive problem. Skem is being chased down, and he's gone as well. Now they want Chuan, who's just trying to make a run for it, but they found him. Ben-Hur, he gets the right tree, and it looks like Chuan is also going to go down this engagement. None of those heroes, John, have buyback available. That is at least one Rax coming out, but they could probably just go for the bot Rax as well.
Yeah, I don't see DeToNator really pulling out here. I'm sure they don't have a Black Hole, but they've just managed basically a full team wipe of sorts, a couple of diebacks there as well. So probably just going to go for this tier 2 and pull back, I guess. I mean, the Aegis did expire there as well. No, DeToNator still feeling fairly confident. Go in, why not?
It just feels like Raging Potato and Ben-Hur are currently just unkillable. That's the thing, John. Like, he's got Dragon Form up again. It felt like he was just in that Dragon Form a second ago, but apparently it's not a problem for him. He'll have it back up, and they may just go for Megas. Because again, it's like, how do you kill these guys? The Piglets come out as well while they're at it. Meanwhile, Raven jumps in, misses the Walrus Punch, however, on Raging Potato, and they will opt to back off. Are almost getting caught in those shards, but then you have the stomp there from Fly Solo to make sure there'll be no chase coming out from the side of Lotac. Now that's 2 Raxes down for the Radiant end.
Yeah, it's going to be a rough time to recover from this. If you're Lotac, they don't really have the greatest wave clear here. Your supports really can't clear out those waves quite fast. Your cores, I guess the Monkey King and Troll can kind of deal with him. It just feels like it's really going to be hard to bounce back here. I feel like you still don't have enough farm on Skem for him to be a real menace. You definitely lack a bit of farm in Chuan now. He has fallen a bit behind, and you're going to be struggling to match up in these team fights. You're really going to have to get that perfect initiation going if you're Lotac.
Well, they have smoked up and are running the right way, but DeToNator are waiting for them, and now the lasso immediately coming out onto the Troll Warlord. He does have the ultimate. In fact, never mind, he doesn't. Earth Splitter comes out and destroys him, and they call GG. 26 minutes into this game, and it is all over. DeToNator do pull off a very, very convincing win. John, we talked about it in the drafting phase. Lotac was being more responsive to the DeToNator picks than they probably should have been. And it looks like they kind of put themselves in a bit of an uncomfortable position. They had a good start in the early game, but they left Raging Potato alone to farm, and the DK, but Ben-Hur, he didn't have a problem in the mid lane apparently. And with that, I mean, if you can't kill the cause of DeToNator, I guess there was just no way to win this game for the side of Lotac.
Yeah, definitely so, Mike. Again, it came down to that draft. Lotac definitely was just responding to DeToNator's picks, so DeToNator had a much more cohesive game plan. They had picks that they knew they could play together quite well, and Lotac was just kind of scrambling to get counter picks. It felt like in this game. Hopefully in game 2 we'll see Lotac change up their draft a bit, play what they're confident in, and force actions onto DeToNator instead. And I'm looking forward to how that game 2 rolls out, Mike. Hopefully you are too.
Oh, absolutely. Game number 2, guys, hopefully won't take too long. Should be a good one. And obviously me and John, we prefer it to go to a game 3 because we always want more Dota. But we'll see if Lotac can pull it back to force it to a game 3, or whether DeToNator are just going to wipe them 2-0 and go straight into Boom ID in the grand final. It is, of course, MLP Dota and johnxfire. We'll be right back with you guys in just a moment.